Good evening, everyone. I see Ruth has been on the chat saying, come on, Nathan, get them organised. And he has been getting us organised over the last half an hour or so. My name's David Wood, and I'm here with Melanie.
Hello.
We're here tonight in the Washback Bar, a little bit of a different place to where we normally do these tastings. The other studio currently has its roof removed. It wasn't because of the wind in Campbelltown. It was we're actually getting it renovated for something in the future. We've decided to go to the Washback Bar. There's nobody in at the moment, so we are closed. We just thought it would be a nice little backdrop for this evening's tasting. I think everyone will have got a box at home, lovely box full of whiskey, and we're going to drink along with you tonight and try some of them. Over to you for the first one.
Go. Okay. Well, evening, everybody. As you can see, I've lined them all up, and so we're going to start with the very first one, which is the lovely number one, and it's Hazelburn 10-year-old. So I'll just pour that into the glass. And this one is what we like to call a core product. So it's one of these interesting ones for us, though, because we say core, but it's still actually just available once a year. And I do have to sort of fess up here because unfortunately there was a wee bit of a blip for this one. And so it was almost disappeared for about 2 years. And so those of you who are fans of Hazelburn 10 have been very, very patient indeed for this one coming out in November 2025. And straight away, yep, in the glass, moving round, super, super oily, as all our lovely whiskies are. And just that lovely, stunning golden colour. And so no surprise, it is 100% bourbon casks, which obviously you're hoping for lots of lovely vanilla, toffee, honeycomb, etc. So let's see if we get any of these notes, if I have a nice wee smell. Also a lovely sort of sweetness, richness coming through. And then also just a tiny wee bit of sort of maybe mineral notes. I'm getting sort of sea salt notes as well. And then let's see if we get this in the palate. So just again, that lovely oily mouthfeel. Again, sort of lovely fruits coming through, like your poached pears, some vanilla, and a really nice sweetness. Again, maybe sort of like your sticky toffee pudding, these sorts of flavours. And then again in the finish, just a lovely, gentle, smooth, and the sweet coming through as well. Maybe even sort of a bit like your burnt sugar, creme brulee, that sort of flavour coming through in the palate. Hazelburn, I was sort of alluding to at the start, how it can be quite tricky to find. And that's because we actually only make it for 1 month of a year. And it's obviously all made at Springbank Distillery. And so we're talking about 30,000 litres a year is what we're producing. And so within that sort of Hazelburn range, we have our lovely 10-year-old, which is what we're tasting today. And then we also have the Hazelburn Sherry, which you'll just have to wait a wee bit longer for because that will be coming out later on in the year. And so that's a sort of Hazelburn stable, our 100% bourbon or 100% sherry are the sort of maturation routes. They would get down for that. And Hazelburn is at Springbank Distillery anyway. It's our youngest single malt. So we just started making it in 1997. And that was thanks to, due to Frank McCarty, who used to work here. Spent part of his time at Bushmills, so obviously Northern Ireland, triple distillation. And so he came over to Springbank and then delightedly decided to put our 3 stills together and gave us this lovely triple distilled single malt. And people sort of always say, why is that different distillation between the Scots and the Irish? And obviously the answer depends on who you ask the question to. But as I'm Scottish, I can say that we probably only distilled twice because we were too tight. We didn't want to spend any more money on any fuel. to get that extra additional distillation. And those of you who've been down to the Wee Toon will hopefully have gone down the road, the long winding road, the Mull of Kintyre, where you can get a lovely view over to Northern Ireland. And so we are not far at all from our Celtic cousins across the sea in Ireland. So yeah, if you're sort of thinking of dipping your toes into an Irish single malt, but you're a Scottish single malt fan, this is an ideal one for you to try. Anything else you want to add? Or?
No, I was just thinking how good it is to see Hazelburn 10 back on the shelves, and it's a cracking dram. Mm-hmm. And I really loved the 8-year-old sherry as well last year. It was definitely up there on my list of top drams of the year. Mm-hmm. So looking forward to the next release. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously, when they started distilling this in the 1990s, one of the main problems was, what are you going to call this new whiskey? And so they obviously trialled Springbank triple distilled or Springbank unpeated, because obviously there's no peat smoke in this one at all. But they came up with the lovely choice of Hazelburn, which is one of the largest distilleries that there was in Campbelltown in the 19th century. And so if you sort of scratch the surface in Campbelltown, it was actually the world's first whiskey town, or Whiskyopolis, as some folk like to call it. And so when they were looking for inspiration, they decided to borrow the name from one of the oldest and largest distilleries that had been in the town. And for those of you who are fans of Japanese whiskey, your founding father, Masataka Takazuru, also worked at Hazelburn, and so there's quite a strong connection between Campbelltown, Japanese whiskey, and Hazelburn that we have. So when you're coming into the Wee Toon, just before you get to the petrol station on the main road opposite the co-op, you'll pass by what's now the Hazelburn Business Centre, and that used to be the old office block for the Hazelburn distillery. So I just want to say, if you want to add water, please do go ahead. I'm not going to say to you, this is how you've got to drink your whiskey. It's entirely up to you. So, slange.
Slange? It's nice to see that old distillery when we still come in. You can still see the old windows, and, it is a business park now, as you said, but, it's all these little remnants of old distilleries in Campbelltown that you can still see. Benmore Distillery, which is now the bus station, and the Burnside Distillery that's just been knocked down. Still lots of old places that you can still see around the town if you ever make the visit here.
And the council's actually invested in a great app called Discover Campbelltown, and you can actually go on, and they've got a whiskey trail. And so it's just self-navigated. You can just pick up your phone and away you go. And it's really amazing. And like this small town, this small area, how not very far you can walk past about 30 odd distilleries. So it's a really nice way to spend an afternoon or morning. Hopefully you're coming down to the Wee Toon.
Yeah. If you do make it down here, you'll notice that the distillery has always got work going on at it. We've got our bottling hall is nearly complete, our new bottling hall, so that we should be ready to move in March. So we'll be moving everybody from our old bottling hall up to our new one. And there have been rumors going around that we're replacing all the workers with AI robots, and all the jobs will be lost, but that's not true. You know what we're like here. Everybody will just move up there, and in fact there'll probably be more people working in the new bottling hall than there currently are, because we'll be taking in some people from dispatch as well. We'll have a nice big dispatch area and an area where everything can come in, so it's more centralized, and we don't have to keep everything in 3 different warehouses. So I know we've talked in the past about that then freeing up space for dunnage warehouses, which would be great, because more place for whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it means that poor Norman hasn't got to take the packaging from one side of the town more or less to the other. And so it'll be really great to have the sort of bottling, dispatch, and then packaging all at least in the same corner of the Springbank Glengyle site in the town. So I'm just looking at the comments, and we've got loads of folk from all over the world. So welcome to you all. We appreciate some of you are up very early in the morning, and others of you are very late at night. So very impressive time zones.
Yeah. Someone attending whiskey school in March. It's be starting to get a bit warmer here. You wouldn't want to attend whiskey school just now. It's very chilly. Tonight it's feeling particularly cold. But yeah, in March it should be starting to warm up for you guys. Yeah.
I think that's somebody asking when in March, because they're going to be in whiskey school. I think at the minute there hasn't been a date decided. We've just sort of said March. So you may be lucky or you may not. I'm afraid it's just too early to say.
There we go. Yeah, a lot of people saying that there's a lot of caramel notes on the Hazelburn 10. I think that's right. It's like caramel and salted caramel. Definitely.
Poached pears with sort of caramel sauce.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's a really, really nice, smooth, gentle dram to start with. Because obviously as well, lots of folks say, well, what difference does that third distillation make? And again, some people will say it makes for a smoother dram. Others will say that the alcohol's that bit higher, because obviously after that additional distillation, the alcohol comes off a bit higher in strength. But again, I think it's very, very individual. And obviously the whiskies are all batch process. And so that will vary as well. So we like to do things similar, but not identical, I would say here.
Yeah.
You'd be a bit worried if the whiskies were all carbon copies of one another.
That's it. Yeah, I mean it's it's unpeated as well, so it's different than most other products that we've got tonight. We've got a few more peaty varieties, but it's a really easy drinker to start us off with. Yeah. Oh, should I go on to dram number 2, do you think?
Nobody's saying no.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I left mine in my box. I didn't have time to pour them all out. So yeah, the dram I'm going to drink next is the Springbank Local Barley. So it's the most recent release, 10 years old. So 60% bourbon and 40% sherry. It's 55.2% ABV, and a huge amount of figs and plums and dates on the nose. And a little bit of spice. And also like a mustiness. Yeah. And this is beer barley from Cloughill Farm. So there were only 6,000 bottles of this local barley. And I know everyone loves to get a bottle of local barley. So sometimes we have large volumes of local barley, and sometimes we don't have as many. I can go into that in a little bit, but yeah, definitely. Definitely a funkiness on the palate as well. A little bit of soy sauce.
Look at all the legs.
Yeah.
Just really, really, really super oily, turbocharged.
Absolutely. And like that kind of demerara sugar on the finish as well. And like some campfire embers.
Sort of
Little bit of
notes.
peach. Yeah, definitely more.
Well,
yeah, I definitely get more of a cereal note with the local barleys. because we always tend to use a heritage barley. So I mean, I think the thing comes down is we always use a local farm that's within an 8-mile radius of the distillery, and some farms are bigger than others. So some years we get a large yield of barley coming in, and some years we don't. And it's up to the farmer what they want to grow. So some farmers like to grow certain varieties, some farmers like to grow other ones. So that's where we get these batch variations. But I think beer barley, definitely one of my favorite barleys at the moment, just because of that cereal note that you get.
You know, I think as well, the best laid plans is sometimes you think it's going to be a bumper year, and then unfortunately Mother Nature has a different idea, and you can have a lot of rain. Or I mean, I remember in the past few years there was so much rain that the planting of the barley was delayed by a month almost, because the ground was just so heavy. And then also just that year there was rain at every single critical stage when you wanted lovely dry sunny weather. And so again, it just sort of reflects how much of a natural product it is. And obviously the west coast of Scotland isn't a great climate anyway for growing barley. And so we're very lucky for what we get.
Absolutely.
And it's great that a lot more local farmers are getting involved as well with growing barley. They're actually coming to us now, whereas previously we would probably have gone to them. So I think that's a sign that the local barley series, everybody's on board, the drinkers, but even more importantly, the producers who we need for all this lovely golden liquid.
I mean, anybody that visited last year at the Malts Festival, we had 3 days of local barley farm visits. So we went to a farm that has previously grown barley for us, and we had a tour and drank some local barley drams and talked about everything local barley, but really in depth and geeky about it. So we went right back to the old 1966 styles up until when we re-released it in 2016. We talked about everything, I think. Even the old farms that were involved, and the old coal mine that was out at Drumlemble. So we used to get coal there. Right up until the modern drams that we're drinking just now.
The only slight confusion thing there was when we went for the tour. Obviously, it was the Campbelltown Malts Festival, so it was May time, and so the barley we were looking at looked like grass. It was about that high. It wasn't very impressive at all. And obviously, all the photos we tend to show of barley are the full fields, just before harvest. So it just again shows you how patient you've got to be, and it's not a quick growing crop at all. But it was really great just meeting the farmer, and everybody had the chance to put their questions directly to them. And on the tour as well, we went up to another farm just out the Gobagrenan Road that we've used before. And I've lived in the town for 15 years and I'd never been up that road, I'm afraid to say. And so it just shows you sometimes it's when you've got visitors and you've got an opportunity to go up there. And it was an absolutely stunning view. So a lovely place for barley to grow, whether it's down near the seashore or whether it's higher up in the hills, or what classifies for hills in the Kintyre Peninsula. Yeah,
the farmer that we visited, he was saying that the barley he was growing, the reason he grew it was because his farm is quite low and it gets hit by the wind. So he didn't want stocks that would grow too high and then bend over. And that the family farm was actually bought because they wanted to grow barley just for feed for the horses, because the family used to have the horse stagecoach that went from here up until to Tarbert, which is about 40 miles up the road.
Let's see, I think some folk were on that farm tour, so that's great. Just to say that you'll be finding out a bit more in shortly about the Campbelltown Malts Festival in 2026. And I'm glad to say the farm tours will be returning, but probably in a slightly different format as well. But when David was talking about the farm we went to for the tour this year, I think some people might recognise it more as the sunflower farm, because it's when you're coming into the town, it's right by on the main road. And so it's maybe about a couple of minutes before you hit the 30 sign when you're coming from Glasgow into the town. And they're usually, at the right time of year, lovely fields of sunflowers. And so that's why it's called that name. But unfortunately, there were no sunflowers there this year because they were growing barley. So hopefully the sunflowers will make a return. So yeah, so just another way of recognising where the barley has been grown. But definitely a series that is going to run and run and run, because I remember initially there was a rumour that it was just going to be for a few years. But yep, no, I think this year has been an absolutely bumper year for barley. And so in 10 years' time or 12, 15 years' time, it's looking very, very promising indeed.
Yeah, if anybody comes on a tour just now, the Barley to Bottle tour, we take you up into the barley lofts, and it's looking pretty full just now. So it's looking good. Jacko is asking if the plan is to continue releasing local barley bottling twice per year now. It's only once a year, but it's just sometimes it's released late in the year and sometimes it's released early in the year. So it's still just an annual release. It may seem like we're releasing 2 a year, but it's just the one.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just sort of, we want to try and make, obviously we have 4 releases a year, and we just try and share the products evenly, or the whiskies evenly across the year. And so, for example, this year it wasn't very evenly spread. All the casts were having their birthdays about a similar time, and so that was why we had to sort of change the order and slot some things in. But it means at the end of the year you'll get exactly the same whiskies. It just means that sometimes you'll get them at a different time of year. But yeah, because I think everybody would be a bit unhappy if everything was released in August.
Yeah.
Definitely your wallets wouldn't be very happy. So it's nicer just to spread the cost evenly across for everybody.
Absolutely.
So we're going to number 3. And so number 3 is the lovely Fino, which was the next release in our sherry series, which has been, I think, rivaling the local barley for actually popularity. Just everybody loves a whiskey that's been matured in a sherry cask. And I mean, I speak as somebody who usually prefers bourbon casks for maturation, just because of the palate's quite sweet. But I can appreciate definitely why so many people love the dark colour, how that sort of attracts you to the whiskey, to the bottle, first of all. So this one is the sherries or the whiskies in the sherry series. They're always 10 years old. They're always bottled at 55%. And it's just the maturation which has changed. So for this one here, for the Fino is obviously quite a delicate sherry. And so it could actually be matured in the Fino cask for quite a long time. And so this was matured for 4 years in the bourbon cask, and then switched over into a lovely Fino sherry cask for 6 years. And so we felt that was the right balance for maturation, for getting your sherry coming through, but not being too dominant. And so let's see what we get in the nose for this one. So actually, this is a very sort of soft nose for me.
Yeah.
Very sort of delicate. Maybe a wee bit of earthiness coming through. I suppose sometimes these ones take a wee while to open up.
Bit of
I would say some nuts, maybe.
Yeah, a bit of cola.
Cola.
Yeah.
Let's see if I'll come back to the nose anyway. Sometimes it does just need a bit of time to open up. So let's see what we get in the palate. So yeah, definitely lots of lovely dried fruits, ripe, juicy raisins. I know we've just had
Absolutely.
Christmas, and some people might not want to hear that word yet, but I mean, definitely Christmas pudding, Christmas cake, all these lovely rich fruit cakes, or Dundee cakes, as we call them in Scotland, coming through. And I'd say, despite being 55%, really very soft, really nice and gentle, very, very nicely balanced, nothing sort of unsettling or not quite in line with everything. Really, really well, yet balanced and integrated. Really good division for the years in bourbon and the years in the Fino sherry cask. And then maybe just more in the finish, a bit of sweetness coming through. Again, maybe some nuts as well.
It's quite sweet in the finish as well.
Sort of like your cola that you said earlier, isn't it? It's nice.
Quite syrupy.
I think for the nose, for me anyway, it's just really, really gentle. So it's not sort of shouting out. It's confident, but it's not saying, "Look at me."
Yeah.
It's more sort of, it's up to you to come and come and discover.
And it's hard to believe we've only got one more year of the sherry series left to go. Manzanilla.
Yeah, I know. I am hoping that Finlay and the team sort of gets another, because it's just been such a wonderful series.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when the cask arrived and everybody was all excited, but them all coming to the distillery and them all being delivered, and as soon as you can see all the different types of sherry, you're just like, well, this is going to be special, because it's so difficult to find. I mean, most distilleries, if you hear of sherry, you think of Oloroso, and that's what's lovely about this series is there's no Oloroso in it. It's all been our PX for the Pedro Jimenez, and then it's been the Palo Cortado, and then also as well the Amontillado as well. So I think, have you been to Jerez?
No, but I want to go because Manzanilla, I think, for the next part of the sherry series is similar to Campbelltown. It's only made in San Luca del Barreda, I think that's how you pronounce it, and it's on the coast. It's on the northwest coast of Jerez, and the sherry tends to have a saltiness because it's next to the Atlantic. So anybody that drinks Springbank knows that you get this kind of saltiness in the finish. So I'm hoping there's the little bit of combination going on there with the last in the sherry series, and I can mark my years working here because the first release when I started was the PX sherry series. So I've watched it every release and thought, well, that's another year I've been here. So
so hopefully you've been able to get one bottle of each.
I have managed to get one bottle of each.
Lucky
yes.
you. I think I got the first one.
Yeah.
And then that was me.
There you go.
But no, I was on holiday actually. I went to Jerez and I made a point of going down to San Lucar. But I have to say, please check in advance because I hadn't appreciated there'd been a big festival on the day before.
Right.
And so when I arrived, all the bodegas were closed.
Oh dear.
So they were all having a very well-earned day of rest.
Yeah.
But I still thoroughly enjoyed my time there because I found a lovely seafood restaurant.
Well, that's always a bonus.
So yeah. But I think here when we sort of forget, where we're sitting at the minute, we're only 200 meters from the sea. And so it's not surprising that when all our whiskies matured here, that you get some lovely sea salt notes, coastal notes.
And definitely a day like yesterday when it was very blustery here, you can walk down the street and you can definitely taste the salt on your teeth. It is blowing around. It's definitely in the air somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people were lucky to get this because I don't know why this is what's great about having the tasting pack is when something's very limited. Because there were only 11,400 bottles worldwide for this Fino. And so when you hear that figure, you realise why it can be very, very difficult to find sometimes. And we sort of say, I enter as many ballots as possible, etc. But with this tasting pack, you get the opportunity to have a lovely dram and just see how good it is. And hopefully it means there will be something again in the future. And maybe keep your eye out for the Manzanilla when it comes out later on this year in 2026.
A lot of questions about peat, the peat that we use. A lot of people are correct in saying that we get our dry peat from the northeast of Scotland, and we get our wet peat from Inverness. So that is where we get our peat from.
Yeah. Obviously, in the olden days, it would have been Campbelltown.
That's right. In the old times, it was Campbelltown, but a little bit too salty, a bit sandy. So they used to leave glass behind in the kiln. So we asked this question last year when we were doing the local barley, and we asked Finlay when was the last time we used local peat, and it was 1999, and it was from the Royan farm, and the Royan farm was previously used in the old local barleys, and Aros farm as well, and the Moss farm. That's where we used to get peat from. But yeah, too salty, and probably a little bit too coastal.
I'm sort of saying, where's the Royan then? Is that
just before you go into the base? So up that way,
right, okay.
Yeah.
Right, so it's sort of Sound of Kintyre.
Yeah, Sound of Kintyre,
right? Because that's sort of it's lovely and flat, isn't
yeah,
it?
Just a plateau. So that would have definitely been underwater at some point. Yeah. Someone asking what age statements are expected to be released in 2026. Well,
how long is a piece of string?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can certainly tell people there'll be a few age statements released soon.
Yes, there will be.
Yeah. So any of the society members out there, you will have received an email at 6 o'clock saying that we'll be having a release tomorrow. Anybody that isn't, this is news to you. So yeah, there'll be a release tomorrow, and there'll be some exciting age statements in that release.
Yep. So please contact your normal retailer tomorrow, obviously when they're open at 10 o'clock. Yep. And as we were saying sort of earlier, for the limited releases, we appreciate that they are a challenge to find. But just try and enter as many ballots as you can as possible, or build up a relationship with a retailer, or if it's possible, obviously come down to Campbelltown and come to the distillery shop, where we obviously do our best to make it worth your while. And you can get some lovely cage samples or demijohn bottles that you can't get anywhere else. To again, just sort of as a thank you for you for coming down the lovely A83, which I think I'm right in saying at the minute it's back to traffic lights at the rest. Yeah, we had no traffic lights at the rest for about a week, I think, which was great. But yeah, unfortunately, heavy rainfall, and it's back to traffic lights.
That's it. Okay, we'll go on to the next dram. So I have the Springbank 100 proof. So yeah, we released this last year. It's now a core product. So 5 years old, 100 proof, 57.1%. And it's been great to see it on the shelves, like you were saying in the shop. We continually see it on the shelves, and really we released this to try and alleviate the problem of the 10-year-old disappearing from the shelves and people not wanting to open a 10-year-old because they wouldn't know when the next time they would be able to get a bottle. So we thought if we release another product that could sit on the shelf alongside it, then it should give people the choice to buy one or the other. And then really it's the kind of, I guess, the fruits of the labor of the extra production since 2018. So yeah, it's always going to be 5 years old. It's always going to be a bourbon cask. So they're always going to be 100% bourbon. We also realized there wasn't anything in the core range that was 100% bourbon. We've got the 15-year-old, which is 100% sherry, and then the 10-year-old, which sits in between, and then 12-year-old cask strength, 18-year-old, 21, 30. the maturation changes from year to year. So yeah, we wanted something which was nice and solid and stable, and something that you could look at every quarter and be able to get your hands on.
And you sort of see the Springbank characteristics of, obviously it's quite young, so you get a fair amount of peak coming through compared to some of our older Springbanks. And then I know that the ABV had a few issues because across the Atlantic, there's a slightly different way of measuring. I'd like to think they copied us and got it wrong.
Yes.
Around.
So if you're in the USA, it's 114 proof, not 100 proof. So for the proof system in the US, you just divide it by 2. So very simple. But over here and the rest of the world, we do 4/7 of 100. So that's 57.1. So yeah, you will actually see the bottles in the US are 57%, not 57.1, and we get 57.1. But yeah, just really vanilla custard, that kind of syrup, almost like golden syrup, I think, on the nose.
It's funny, for me, it's just one of these ones as well that I think I should have poured my whiskies before we started. Because again, sort of, it's one of these ones that just sort of takes a while to open up.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's maybe because of the ABV. Because obviously the Hazelburn 10 maybe kind of poured that in because it was 46%. It was fine, but...
Yeah, I get that kind of Caramac, if you're from Scotland. There was a chocolate bar that's now discontinued, but it was like white chocolate caramel. Quite oily still.
I'm certain for that description, maybe like a blondie.
Yeah,
that sort of be quite a good description for that as well.
White chocolate blondie.
Yeah. Sort of same sort of flavors to look for. I think as well is quite nice is, yes, it is a high ABV, but again, if you want to add water to bring it down, and obviously when you add your water, you're actually getting more whiskey for the same amount of money.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's quids in regardless. And I think it's just great that, as David was saying, we've increased production, since 2018, and so it's just going to get better and better availability-wise. And then the nice thing is that you didn't have to wait till 2028 to get an increase in production, because we've obviously brought it down to 5 years. And a lot of you will know that 2028 is going to be a big year for us anyway. And so there's lots of really interesting whiskies that will be coming out at that time. So it's quite nice that we've been able to get the 5-year-old 100 proof out in advance for that. And I think it's just lovely now that you can go into a whiskey shop and you're starting to see the Springbanks on the shelf, because for so long, they just weren't going on the shelves. They were basically just going straight out the door. And I'm just delighted, because it means it's the folk who are the drinkers who are getting a chance to buy them and to drink them and enjoy them. Because you never want to hear about whiskey, having all that time spent maturing in the cask and then just going into another cupboard and not seeing the light of day. And so, I think with that 5-year-old, it's definitely helped those of us who enjoy whiskey out there to get some. Yeah.
So Greg is asking, how many batches per year are we going to have of the Springbank 5-year-old 100 proof? So it's going to be a continuous product. So we have 4 releases a year. So it'll be on every release. So,
and it's always going to be 100% bourbon. Always be 5 years old. So definitely one to get behind. And hopefully if you enjoy it, it'll be one you shouldn't have a problem replenishing your cupboard with.
Exactly. There are a couple of historical stories about how the proof system started, but someone once told me that this person was in the Canadian Navy. So they said they'd heard this story from a historian, and so there's many different stories, so it might be wrong, but apparently it's to do with when we used to have to protect ourselves with gunpowder on board boats. So the similar terminology like gunpowder proof, which you would have with gin. So what it's to do with is if a cask ever spilt, a cask of spirit, whiskey, gin, rum, whatever, would spill onto gunpowder. If it was below 57.1%, if it was below proof, it would spoil that gunpowder and it couldn't be used. But if it was overproof, then it evaporates and the gunpowder is still usable. And there was ways of the captain to could test that. And they would use gunpowder proof. They would take some gunpowder, pour some spirit over it, and then they would light it. And if it lit with a blue flame, then it was proof. And if it didn't light, then it was underproof. And then that was when the sailors were probably helping themselves and topping it up with water and watering it down. So yeah, we'd have to check that just so they could continue to keep their gunpowder.
And there was a great production illustrating that story.
Oh yeah.
With David.
Oh yes.
And I'm sure, I think, is that still available?
Oh, it's still on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you go back on to one of the other YouTube videos after you've watched this, you'll be able to see David Allen explaining proof system.
And Sophia's hands.
Yeah.
Making
they were David's
cameo.
hands. They were definitely David's hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions about the 5-year-old 100 proof, or we just head on?
What's the difference? 100 proof second series to the first series. The 100. I wonder if it's the long row 100 proof he's talking about. Yeah.
So just not to get mixed up. So the Springbank 100 proof is every few months, so 4 times a year. Whereas the long row 100 proof, yes, it's the same ABV, but it's an annual release, so it's only out once a year. I think that was it.
There we go.
So yeah, I think we want to say hello, don't we, to the folk from the Broch?
From the Broch.
Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce that. Is it Chowmer or Chomer? So apologies for not getting it right, but yep. Hello to you all in the Broch.
Hello.
Yep. Right, I think we're going to number 5. And so number 5 is our lovely sister or brother distillery, if you want to call it. And so it is the lovely Kilkerran, which is just next door up here. And it's obviously made with the same barley as we get at Springbank. So it's a lovely, lightly peated barley coming through. But this one has obviously been matured for 16 years. So you'd probably expect some of that barley, the peat and the barley, to have evaporated a wee bit. So let's see what we get in the nose. So again, down to 46%. So yeah, let's see. Maybe sort of getting again sort of your dark fruits, rich fruits. Again, sort of like raisins and prunes as well. And definitely sweetness coming through. Now let's see what I get on the palate here. So on the palate, again, obviously down at 46%, so just a wee bit smoother, gentler, really pretty delicate. I don't know if that's after the cast strengths that we've had. But again, sort of like your fruit cakes. I mean, when I was looking at the recipe for this, it was saying it was 60% bourbon casks and then 40% sherry casks. But yep, when you look at the colour of that, it is definitely a very, very generous sherry cask, I think, that have been used to give us this lovely whiskey. Because a real sort of, unless you knew that figure, you wouldn't think it was that division of 60% bourbon and then 40% sherry.
Definitely a lot of first fill sherry casks in there, I think. Yeah.
Because as you know, we don't use any caramel colouring, so it's definitely all natural colour that's come through. But yeah, definitely not really much peat coming through at all. But yeah, just another one that's taking a bit of time to open up for me. So I'm getting a sort of richer nose now, maybe like your dark chocolate, cranberries, that sort of.
I think that's the thing as well. The last two releases of the 16, I think we've had some rum influence, 10% rum, 5% rum. So a completely different whiskey this time, definitely with the sherry influence.
You know, this one, or the Kilkerran series of the 16, it just first appeared in 2021. So for those of you who are good at maths, obviously the distillery started production in 2004. And so the first time we had any sort of a reasonable amount of 16-year-old Kilkerran was in 2021. And it's I think it's been really nice to see, obviously, the difference the 4 years makes in the maturation, because obviously most people from Kilkerran will have had the 12-year-old, which is mainly bourbon. So you're talking 60-70% bourbon casks and 30-40% sherry casks, which is a lovely sort of citrus green apple, quite a sweet whiskey. And so it's just really nice seeing the 4 years on with a similar division. And yes, very strong, very generous sherry cask. But again, just seeing the difference that the 4 years makes in the cask. And then, as you know, we sort of have a pretty limited production, unfortunately, at Kilkerran. So we're only producing there for about 3 months of the year, which sort of litres-wise, it's just giving us about 100,000 litres. But I'm delighted to say that for the past few years, we've been splitting that mainly, obviously, between our lightly peated barley, because that's obviously what we get from Springbank distillery. But we've also been doing some other different types of distillation and peat levels. So we've been doing some unpeated, some heavily peated, which obviously we'll be talking about later. And then also we've been having some lovely triple distilled, which I think there've been 3 releases at the festival, maybe of triple distilled. So not that I'm biased, but that is my favourite whiskey ever. Is I think it was a 19-year-old triple distilled we had a few years ago.
15-year-old and a 17-year-old triple distilled. 17-year-old was a favourite of mine, actually. Yeah, it was great. I see a few people talking about the Kilkerran warehouse tastings, where you can go and try the whiskey straight from the cask, and also on the tours at the moment as well, we have a little bit of a cask tasting at the end. And someone was saying that they've tried a 10-year-old Kilkerran and a 10-year-old heavily peated, and I think that's the great thing. You know, that there's we have our cage in the shop where we have some cage bottles, which are single cask special bottlings. So the weird and wonderful, I guess. And I think there was recently a Springbank and ex-Calvados and Ruby Port or something like that. So, but the Kilkerran one, like cage bottles, are always overlooked, I think. And there's some absolutely cracking bottles in the cage that you can always try. Yeah.
And I think the warehouse tasting at Kilkerran's just been around for, I think, a year or so. And it's a really great opportunity to, especially when you've come down to Campbelltown, to really sort of open your eyes to another whiskey that quite often goes under the radar. And there's some really outstanding samples in the warehouse. And obviously, once that cask is empty, it's replaced with a cask which is as good. And David and I had a really hard morning this morning, because first thing in, we got to taste some lovely new samples.
So 9 o'clock in the morning, drinking drams. It's a tough job. So hopefully you all like whichever one we chose to go into the next lineup for the Kilkerran warehouse tasting. Yeah, it was really tough, because I think both samples had their merits, but it was good. We will definitely do something with the other cask, I think. So, we'll have a wee look. Ian Sunderland's pointed out that sometimes there are cage bottles in the washback bar too. There are. And anyone looking over my shoulder here, this is a new addition to the bar. We now have, I think, added 80 bottles to the bar. So there's now over 100 bottles of whiskey that you can try on the menu. So yeah, it'll be a great place to visit when you make your way down here.
And where are these bottles from? Are they ones that were found in cupboards? Or?
Yeah, found in cupboards, found in our archives, some stuff that we've had squirreled away. So yeah, they've made their way up there. I mean, I think you can do pretty much most of the local barley that has been released since 2016. So yeah, they're all up there. There's some old early 2000 21-year-olds. There's quite a lot of 12-year-old cast strengths. Kilkerran work in progress. Yeah, some great drams up there. Okay, we'll move on to the last one. That's a quick hour. Yeah. So we're moving on to the Kilkerran Heavily Peated. So this is batch 13. So on the nose for me, huge amount of butterscotch and caramel. Like, yeah, it's really syrupy. Maybe, yeah, like foam bananas.
It's funny with this one, I get the sort of the sea tar. You know, if you've got a lobster creel or something, that sort of smell.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's it. You know, you were saying earlier about the sea. You know, we've also got a pier that lands seafood, and it's got to have an influence there somewhere. It's quite fruity as well. Like
you're saying the foam bananas,
like,
right?
Yeah, like papaya as well.
Yes, I'm fine. Yeah, mango, all these sort of more tropical fruits.
So 90% bourbon, 10% sherry, and that has been the consistent maturation since batch 7. So before batch 7, we played around with the maturation of the cask makeup of the whiskey. We've had some, different ones before batch 7, but batch 7 we kind of settled on 90% bourbon, 10% sherry, and it's remained that way ever since. It used to be peat in progress, but now it's small batch, heavily peated. So yeah, I think 2022 was batch 7. So yeah, we've a consistent product now.
Yeah, somebody's just sort of asking about the level of production for Kilkerran. Oh God, where's it going?
Level of production. We only produce for 3 months of the year. So 9 months of the year at Springbank Distillery, and then 3 months of the year at Glengyle Distillery, where we make Kilkerran. So, but yeah, it's and as Melanie was saying, within that 3 months, we've to make unpeated Kilkerran, peated Kilkerran, triple distilled, and heavily peated. And heavily peated is the only product that we have where we actually buy a small portion of our malt in, where we'll buy some peated malt in from Baird's Malt, just to bring that ppm level up.
And I'd say that initially when I heard we were going to be launching a heavily peated, my heart sank, because it's not usually a whiskey that I would enjoy. But I must have to say, yes, it is heavily peated, but to me, I would think heavily peated would be like eating an ashtray, something unpleasant like that. Whereas this, I think because the sweetness, and I think because of maybe the coastal notes again, like for me coming through, and all these sort of tropical fruits that you've just described as well, They're all real sort of flavors that marry very well for my palate.
Yeah.
And I think it was just a really good reminder for me that, look at a label by all means, look at the colour, but you have to taste to find out if it's the whiskey for you. And then the great thing about heavily peated is it comes out twice a year.
Yes.
And so it's always, yes, it's a similar maturation recipe, but as we all know, some casks can be very generous, some less so. And again, because it's that high alcohol, again, if you want to water it down, it gives you a longer drink. So it's win-win.
But that's the thing, it's 58.6. So it's higher ABV than the 100 proof, but it doesn't taste like a high ABV. No. And I think it's that, as you said, it's that sweetness just cutting through there and makes it really easy to drink.
Yeah, very easy to drink. Yeah. So I think as well, people see heavily peated and think it'll be antiseptic. But again, to do with the peat, the peat can come from all these different locations. And I mean, there's so many different things that can affect the flavour of a whiskey. But I think you always like to think that if the peat is coming, its location, it'll be definitely adding something. Because I know from somebody, if you go camping in Scotland, some areas you go to and you get brown water. Others you get some lovely crystal clear water. And the peat obviously has that problem as well. But I think it's a really nice addition. And I think it's a lovely, when you've got a tasting like this, to end with a whiskey that is peated. And I think when you think all these whiskies come from 2 distilleries in one small town, it's a sort of a really good way of displaying just really what sherry casks, bourbon casks can really do, and just the barley and the water.
And I think as somebody was saying there in one of the comments about the malting team are the only part of the team that doesn't move up. That's it. They stay here all year round, and they produce the malt for Kilkerran as well. It's
very hard graft.
Very hard graft. I mean, I did 1 day hard graft in whiskey school, and utmost respect to everyone that works in the malt floor. So,
yes. You can see why. Boot camp is definitely a very appropriate term for that team. And if you don't waste your money on Weight Watchers,
exactly.
Just volunteer at your nearby malt team, and you'll see the weight dropping off.
So someone asked earlier as well, can we let them know what's been released tomorrow? I mean,
we give them our bank details.
I know. I mean, I guess we can tell them, right? Or we keep that secret?
What, there are 2 Springbanks and a
Springbanks
and
a Longrow and a Kilkerran. There we go. We told everyone.
Yeah.
2 with age statements.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
So, you'll have to, find out tomorrow. And, Well, someone asking, or somebody saying there, malt barns is the best part of the whiskey school. Yeah, I agree. It's hard graft, and that's what I love to see. In the days of the whiskey school start, they come in, all big smiley faces in the morning, 8 o'clock. Gavin greets them, takes them around to the malt barns. You see them 2 hours later, all hot and sweaty, but still with smiles on their faces, but in need of a water or something else to pick them up.
I think they understand why Sandra
gives them a big breakfast.
And Mary give them huge breakfast, because they definitely need all that good Scottish breakfast for all the energy, all the calories that they'll be burning on the malt floor, because we're not kidding, that is actually your first period of whiskey school. Is basically, I think I'm right in saying, putting out the malt floor.
Putting out the malt floor, 13 tons of malt out onto the malt floor. So sometimes you're lucky and you've got a group of 6 of you. Sometimes you're not as lucky and you might have a group of 5. And so it's hard work.
And I think Thursday usually it's a wee bit better, and then that's when you can clear the malt floor. So definitely the challenge is the Monday.
Yes.
I think that's one great thing about doing the whiskey school, is that it's one of the few opportunities where you can actually, get up close and personal with the barley.
Absolutely.
some people like to come down and make barley angels.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Well, any other questions? Have a wee look. Would we be looking to have separate distillery teams in the future? It's been talked about. Certainly, I think one of the bottlenecks in our production is that we don't have malt floors up at Glengyle Distillery, so we would need that. We need some space to increase production, so we need some warehouses, which I think we're kind of getting to that point where we are going to have maybe some extra space. And yeah, we would just need to be able to malt it, and we'd need to hire some more staff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think it's definitely something we'd all be really, really keen for, to get malting up at Kilkerran, and definitely I think we all hope in the next 10 years. I mean, you can see the changes that have happened in the past 10 years. So everything's going in the right direction. I mean, a few years ago, there was an issue with the water supply because the pipe could only service like Springbank or Glengyle.
Yeah.
But now we've got new pipes in, so both distilleries will be able to run simultaneously. So it's wee steps, but the goal is definitely to get the malt floors up there.
Absolutely.
And then that will obviously give us a great boost as well to Springbank, because it'll give us again, 3 months of barley that at the minute come up to Kilkerran. We'll be able to stay at Springbank. So good news.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've got time for one more question. It seems to be the pressing question everyone's asking. Someone's asking about the stills, what's happening? Can we say, the stills have been refurbished. They are nearly completed. So we'll be back up and running very soon. So we're continuing production at Glengyle just now, making Kilkerran, so kind of switching up the year slightly. And we'll go back to Glengyle at the end of the year. We're nearly up and running, and tours will return to normal. So it's been a hive of activity here the last 3 months. So be great to be back.
Yes. Yeah, we're all looking forward to doing tours back in the still house.
Absolutely.
A long pause, but a worthwhile and very necessary pause.
Absolutely.
So thanks to the guys from Forsyth who've done a great job.
Yeah, tremendous job.
They've been down here a lot longer than they thought, but yeah.
They were very surprised though that the stills hadn't been replaced since the 60s.
Well, I mean,
so but that just goes to show the small amount of production we actually make here, that we're not running them 24/7, and the stills are getting a bit of a breather sometimes. So
they don't owe us anything.
No, exactly. But I think we're about to wrap it up. So just like to thank everybody for joining us, and everybody that's going to watch this on the repeats. But after this, go and look at a video of David Allen
and Sophia's nails.
And Sophia's nails. So until next time, Slange va.
Yeah, Slange.